Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are the lead authors, all three of them, of one of our newest books. You guys, this one is the third in our Shaman Heart Series, and it's called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. Welcome, Stephanie Urbina Jones, Jeremy Pager, and Jorge Luis Delgado. Welcome, you guys. How you feeling?
Good. Grateful to
Super
be here.
excited to be
Oh
here.
my gosh. It seems like yesterday that we were together in Peru, and there's so many exciting things I want you all to talk about today. But let me tell you just a little bit about who I have in my Zoom room today. Stephanie Urbina Jones is the co-founder of Freedom Folk and Soul, a singer, teacher, and writer, and she brings her passion and experience of living a life of creative freedom to people all over the world. Jeremy co-founded Freedom Folk and Soul alongside Stephanie, and he's a lead facilitator in powerful and transformative workshops, classes, journeys, and trainings, guiding people on their journeys of self-discovery. Jorge Luis Delgado is recognized worldwide as an authority on Inca philosophy, spirituality, and tradition, and is an author of Andean Awakening, an Inca Guide to Mystical Peru, and Pachacuti, I hope I'm saying that right, Return to Joy. All right, you guys, let's do this. So let me begin by sharing with you all that this was no, oh my gosh, you guys, this was no ordinary book project. So Stephanie, Jeremy, and Jorge led us on a spiritual pilgrimage through Peru. And now that we've returned, forever transformed by that journey and the love energy they held us in, we're creating this book for the world, which will give our readers an incredible experience of their own. Stephanie, you had a big dream and vision for this third book in your Shaman Heart series. Tell us a little bit about the why behind this project for you.
Well, as you mentioned, we had the honor, Jeremy and I, of co-leading with you these authors' journeys as teachers in the healing arts, leading people in their journey of transformation and awakening to who they were born to be. The first book, Turning Pain into Passion and Purpose, was so powerful. And then the second book, Sacred Rebel, was so powerful. And we had laid a dream in a despacho ceremony about 10 years earlier with Jorge. We had the honor of meeting him and experiencing his love and his wisdom. And a dream was in my heart 10 years ago, that someday we would go to Peru. And after we finished the first two books, it was just, we had an awareness after we went to Peru that we wanted to bring our third author's journey to Peru and to work with Jorge Luis Delgado, who has been such a gift in my life in the way that I live it. And so that 2 week journey came alive and the authors assembled, and it was just amazing. And so I feel so honored to be, as he says, in this time of the Pachacuti, the great awakening, the sunrise of humanity, and to be leading this author's journey and this book to hopefully inspire us all to remember that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the Pachacuti. We are the seeds that are ready to bloom in this new time.
It's really hard to describe the power and the energy and all the experiences that we had, right? It was a packed trip and it continues. The energy continues beyond our trip. It's reignited today with the four of us here. It's going to be reignited in all of our author interviews. And of course, on publishing day, when the world can read this. Stephanie, what do you want our listeners to know the most about We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting for?
I believe that we have a map to our destiny within each of our hearts and our souls and our spirits, that there's a reason why we chose to be on the planet at this time. And even though things can seem hard, and some of us are going through hardships and suffering, just this remembrance and awareness beginning to curate and bring that alive, to farm our love for this moment, knowing that we chose to be here. This is the great awakening, and that great awakening lives within you. There's a story in time that wants to be written from you and shared with the world. And I hope that we are mirrors of invitation for that, that yes, we are in the midst in these times of a great initiation, but again, that idea and that awareness that you are the one you've been waiting for. This is the time we were born to shine and to live.
Yes, it was. It is. I love everything that you are. Thank you for being in my world. All right, I'm going to move to Jeremy. I want to hear a little bit from him, kind of just a little different question for you, Jeremy. You always hold a special sacred container for us during our journeys. And you do this as a practice with everything that you do, all of the journeys, all of the programs. Tell me more about your why and how you've come to doing this amazing thing you do.
Well, thank you, Laura, for the question. Twofold. My why is, I came to this path 24 years ago, really out of necessity. As many of us, I grew up in like a very imperfect, perfect, dysfunctional family. And I say the problem with my parents is they had parents and so on. And, so from that, not really being taught how to be in life, as an actualized adult, to feel my feelings, all that, I learned to medicate, disassociate. And through that, I ended up on this path out of necessity of my own healing. And spending 24 years holding containers, working in mental health for 15 years, doing lots and lots of groups, lots and lots of workshops. Um, what I've come to really understand is the most important thing is creating that safe container for people so that they can feel safe, so they can be vulnerable, so they can step in and recognize that they are their own healers. We are mirrors. We're presenting portals, concepts, teachings, but each person is responsible to walk through that door. I often say Buddha could come sit down in between all four of us here, and he could give the best teaching in the world. And if we don't choose to walk through the door, it means nothing. And so when we can create a safe container that people feel held, supported, loved, listened to, heard, then they can transform. They can transform. We are our own medicine men and medicine women. We are our own healers. And that is kind of the premises of this book. We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's twofold. It's like, oh, each of these stories in this book is a journey of each person stepping into their knowing, their power, their sovereignty, right? And their own healing, as well as this time that we're in is intense. All the prophecies talk about this time. And of course, we want to look at it as this glorious time, but it's messy, it's hard, it's painful, right? And as we need to continue to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. And that's what I feel like this book is really about. And there's no better time for this book to be coming out than right now, right? And we have to remember that like it's going to be messy, like we talk about in the book, like birth is messy, right? Rebirth is messier. And so can we hold on to the light? Can we hold on to our divinity? Can we hold on to the sunrise, as Jorge will say, instead of getting lost in, and it's a choice. We have a choice in each moment. And some days, man, is it hard, right? And some days it's like my motto lately is like one step at a time, one step at a time, one breath at a time, And so I hope this book inspires people to go, yep, every one of these stories shows how messy this transformation and the win. I'm so excited and proud of this book. It's amazing. Every story is amazing. So that's my why, I suppose.
Well, thank you for all you do. There are a lot of people who say that they hold this safe container, and there are the people who are walking the walk, and they don't have to talk about it so much because they're just doing it, and that is you. And I greatly appreciate that about you. Jorge, I can't tell you what a gift it was to be led by you on this incredible journey in Peru. It was way more than sightseeing. You brought your spirituality, your experience, your ceremony, your love, your culture to us every day of the trip and shared that all openly. What do you want people to know about Peru and your purpose in the world?
Well, in our tradition, we believe that we are already enlightened. So we are not searching to be enlightened. We are already the children of the sun. We are already the children of the light. So the only thing we have to do is to release the resistance. That resistance brought us to the situations that we experience today in the world. That lack of the spirit, the lack of this extraordinary miracle in each human being, the inner sun, that light in our hearts, that's our strength, that's our power. So we are already in that space. We are the bubble of light. So as we remember together, we start to find something amazing that every history we share, already somebody else had a similar histories. And what is amazing that is each of us, we are repeating histories. As we bring that awareness that our strength is the light, our gift is the light, our contribution for the new world is our own light. So we are exactly in the best moment of the history of the humanity. We start to believe in the light of the new day. Each of us, when we are ready to share our histories, we are already bringing our contribution to show up in this world with the naked souls. I'm so happy to be part of the circle of the naked souls.
I am happy to be in the circle of naked souls as well. And you just made my week because I got to hear you say extraordinary again. It had been a while since I heard you say that. I love that, Jorge. Thank you so much. All of you here are doing amazing things in the world. You all have a lot going on aside from the book, this project. And so, Stephanie and Jeremy, tell us a little bit about what's going on with your programs and how people work with you.
Well, thank you, Laura, again for the question. Like we said in the beginning, me and Steph are both co-founders of Freedom Folk and Soul, and we are, a spiritual community of the healing arts. And we have, many trainings and classes and workshops, as well as, teaching people how to share their light, right? Share their message, their medicine, step into becoming the teachers that they are, as well as in the starting part of that is doing our own personal work, always. Being a great facilitator or teacher is mostly about doing our own personal work in the world and continuing to do that, as well as like me and Steph continue to do our own work on a regular basis. And so, lots of things if you check out the website. But what we're most excited about this year is this kind of modified book tour workshop that we're doing. We're doing 2 or 3 dates in the Northeast with Jorge this year in May, as well as we have a couple big journeys. We have a beautiful journey to Peru again, for those that, read the book and want to experience what we did with Jorge walking through those sacred sites, which is just amazing. As well as we're going to Greece for 2 weeks with Jorge to move back into this ancient mythology that so much of our culture is built on. And getting back to, for me, the trip is really getting back to the power of the forward thinking that it was when some of our like democratic, like systems that are in place today were created from this ancient land, as well as these archetypical gods that show up in so many ways in our lives. And so we're really excited about doing all these things with Jorge, as well as Steph and I doing some other events through the country that will be announced, in concert with this book, but in concert with the concept of we are the ones we've been waiting for. So each of these dates will be a transformative experience where people can really step in and do some of their own work, but really awaken that part of themselves that is empowered to be that light, or to like Jorge said, kind of removing some of the heavy energies so that that light can come forth, because it's already there. And so we got a big year ahead of us.
Yeah. And of course, you guys, you're all hooked up down below for all the links and everything that we're talking about today. Okay. Jorge, are you still there with us? We want to hear about all the things that are up with you and your world, your tours. Come back on here if you can. And good. Tell us about what's happening in your world, Jorge.
Yes. We are always active in this time, in this new cycle. It's about breeding the presence of the masters, of the mothers in all over the world. There is a huge awakening. So we are moving around. I've been, doing some workshops in Europe, and I'll be in the Shaman's Gathering. Then we do a tour in the East and the West Coast. Well, in many places in North America in September, in May, and then we have this unique opportunity to remember what Greece brought to the world, and how nowadays we start to change in a beautiful way from all the native traditions in the world. That presence is returning and combining with the different cosmovisions of the world. And we are also publishing this new book called Love, Service, and Wisdom. And also we are preparing another publication about the 7 relations, ways to harmonize. It's just flowing in a beautiful way. And wherever we go, we see the people at the beginning with some sadness about the situations in the world. But it's really, really the invitation to an extraordinary life. So that is really something that everybody we're experiencing in all over the world. We start to see and experience what we need to change. And is changing in each of us as we transform our path. So I hope this year will be full of great surprises in a extraordinary way. You know how we can bloom. It is about blooming in all the ways, with our soul, with our heart, always connected. So this is a contribution to life.
Thank you, Jorge. And I have Jorge also linked up down below, you guys, so you can read about all the things that he is talking about. There's a lot going on in y'all's worlds. You're doing amazing things. Congratulations on all the projects, really, all three of you. It's world changing. I love this line that Jorge just said. You know, what you're experiencing right now is an invitation to live an extraordinary life. Extraordinary life. I love that. The expert co-author cast of We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For is an incredible group of humans, y'all. I have so much gratitude for these people, the people that were by my side on the trails in Peru and who are in my email inbox, giving me their beautiful gifts of their words, their brave words about their stories. Taking the journey together created a bond and a memory I think we'll all carry forever, literally. Stephanie, what message do you have for your co-authors today?
I just want to say thank you for hearing the call. You know, every time Jeremy and I would reach out to someone because we felt the calling for these amazing souls to be in our life, possibly part of this book and journey. And when they heard the call, it just, as Jorge says, it's like something bloomed. As he often taught us, blooming is our destiny. And what happened when we all came together, heard the calling, was just, I mean, a book of life of it's beyond words. What happened, including the people. There were 7 people who actually, because they were mothers or parents or had just had surgery, were not able to actually be there. And so they zoomed in from all the sacred sites across Peru and were on the journey with us, doing all kinds of ceremonies and breath work. And so I'm just so honored to be in life with each one of you. I'm honored that I got to witness your brave words and experiences. It was just, you know, it's one of the greatest gifts of my life this past year that we've spent together. And here we go, vulnerably and bravely sharing our stories with the world at a time that, you know, I know we need it the most. So, yeah.
So, you guys, I'm going to close with this really big question. It's going to be hard to hone this one in. But what I really want to know is kind of the most important thing you want people to know about this. But, you know, in terms of this journey, self-discovery, awareness, healing, living this life, living our purpose, right? Big topics here. Jeremy, what's the most important thing you want people to know today, to message to leave them with today?
God, that's a big question.
It's a little big, I know.
I mean, I think the most important thing is start, you know, step in, go to a workshop, you know, go to counseling session, go to a coaching session, like really begin the process of your transformation. You know, I worked with Miguel Ruiz for many years, you know, and he would say, you know, our domestication process, the process of our wounding, our upbringing, our is necessary. And our personal freedom is our birthright, to reclaim ourselves, to reclaim our will, to reclaim freedom of choice. If we don't have awareness, and that's what I mean by like go to a counseling session, go to a workshop, go to something, a presentation, something that, is creates awareness, right? Becomes a portal into our own consciousness of how we operate in the world, right? And don't create dogma from those, but like, oh, okay, that's awareness. When we have awareness, we get choice. And until we have awareness, we don't have choice. And so personal freedom, which is, what this work is to me, is really about reclaiming choice and reclaiming our sovereignty and saying, this is what the dream that I choose to create. One of our authors wrote in there, I love this, I never heard it, but she's like, oh God, I'm messing this up, but basically our words create our world. Our internal words create our world. And I loved it. I sent her a message last night. And so that's the most important thing, right? Recreate our world, reclaim our choice, reclaim our freedom of choice, because that is our birthright, and then wake up every day and say, okay, what masterpiece do I want to create today? What colors do I want? What paints do I want? You know, um, and I had a teacher used to say, then throw ourselves a bone and go fetch it. Meaning like, just play, right? Play, throw ourselves a bone and go fetch it. So that's the short answer, I suppose.
I love it. It's a good short answer. Yeah, what masterpiece will I create today? What a great morning mantra. Jorge, what last message do you have for everyone listening today?
Important to remember, whatever strong thoughts, it's important to clarify. When we clarify, we start saying it's just a thought. Our reality with the divine self, with the divine mother's presence, with the divine father's presence in our hearts, our reality always is more generous than our thoughts. In a period like now, we can have extreme thoughts. And we start to see that we are creating more heavy energies with our thoughts, with our words. So it is so important to see the best of ourselves, our light, to visualize our communities, our world with our heart, to see the future from that light, from that strength. So then we are dreaming, we are visualizing and manifesting a new world. So always clarify our thoughts. If it's real, if it's the truth, so we will start to see that the truth always comes from our inner sun, from our hearts. And we will see most of our thoughts are lies. Don't believe in lies. Believe in that light. That light is the extra. In an ordinary world, we bring the light, the extra, and we apply that light in the ordinary world. So we have extraordinary world. We have extraordinary lives for us and for all the creatures that the Mother Earth and the Father Sun love so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Jorge. All right, Miss Stephanie Urbina Jones, tell me what the most important thing is for you. What do you want people to know? Close us out today.
I think that for me, one of the greatest gifts has been to see all of the things as initiations and invitations to step through kind of this experience of life that we all unknowingly chose. I really believe we chose all of the stories that were written around us. And that when we look at it that way, when we can see like, wow, that experience that had brought me suffering or pain really was, as Jorge's like, this is the initiation. This is the invitation into that extraordinary life, and realizing we are so incredibly powerful. As Jeremy was saying, to create the masterpiece, to create from our hearts a new dream. And I know, many people, because we have an amazing community. We all come up against our crossroads, those moments where we're invited to surrender. And in that recreation story, we are so powerful, y'all. We do, when we clean up the lens of our life and those stories, we then can recreate and redream, I believe, who we were born to be at this time on the planet. And from that point of view, there's not a single time that would be more exciting to live in and to be a part of that recreation story in our lives and in our communities. That just changes everything. It's like, there's a cowgirl up, let's go, you know, energy about it. And I'm just so grateful to be again in that dance of life with these people, with you, and for anyone who's watching this. Let's go.
Let's go.
Mama knows.
That is so perfect. To all of you today, Stephanie, Jeremy, Jorge, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. I think for you listeners, you probably gathered that this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. Maybe something you heard today's given you the goosebumps. Maybe you've got a question or you really need some support. So come on down into the show notes and explore all the websites there for these guys and what they're up to in the world. What Jeremy said, take that workshop, do that thing, get your awareness level up a notch and watch the magic that happens from that awareness. It's pretty badass, y'all. And these three people are masters of that and will guide that journey in an incredibly loving and expert way. Also, we would really love it if you just hop over to Amazon right now and buy We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For, you guys. Grab the book. The book is a journey in and of itself. You are going to love it. You can also rub elbows with all the authors at our Zoom book launch party. That's going to be on March 7th. So if you're listening to this interview in time, drop down to the show notes and grab the Zoom information. Come join us for that party. We're going to have a good time. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.